We're ready to go.
Okay. Good morning. It's Monday morning and we've got a mower to work on. It's currently a little before 7 o'clock in the morning. It's about 48 degrees outside, and this may be the last mower we do the entire year. In northern Texas, people usually don't want lawnmowers past, I'd say mid-November. They might pick one up here and there this time of year to pick up leaves, and that's it. But anyway, I digress. We've got a Husqvarna to work on. It's the 8.75 that we worked on the drive wheels a few days ago. And we're going to go ahead and replace the belt. Well, the belt was working. It was making quite a bit of noise. And I'm sure that belt took a whole lot of abuse because more than likely the person, when the drive wheel started sticking, the person kept on trying to self-propel it rather than fix the drive wheel sticking and just tore the belt up to no end. So we've got her sitting here. Let's get started. We fooled with this one quite a bit. She got a little bit of everything, but as you can see, it's got quite a bit of motor. There we go. As you can see, it's got quite a bit of motor, and it's in really good shape. So the only thing we've got left on her is I don't want to let her go without a brand new belt on it. The old belt did work, but it was pretty squeaky, and we've cleaned up the drive system and redone the wheels. So let's go ahead and put a new belt on her today. Now we've already pulled the bottom cover off of this one, so let's pull the top cover off and see what she looks like. Every one of these is going to be a little bit different from one to the next for replacing a belt. This one, in this case, we're going to pull this top cover off. And there it is. If you're replacing a belt that squeaks, take a picture of this before you go. Before you continue on to the next step, because the belt routing is pretty obvious, but it makes life easy. If you don't have a picture, here's what you're going to do. So if you don't have a picture before your belt comes off, you'll notice that this pulley has a flat side. It doesn't have a groove. This one, however, is much deeper. See, there's a belt in it now. And the flat side of the belt will go across this pulley, and it'll go through the V here, which will be the V side of the belt, and loop around. So that's really all you got to do to figure out how your belt runs, because 90% of the people aren't going to replace that belt until she just flat falls off the machine. A lot of people are willing to put up with a squeaky belt. I'm not one of those people. If it squeaks, I don't like it. Okay, we've already loosened up the cover underneath, so we're going to go ahead and pull the pulley off, take the old belt off. But we would need this out of the way to put the new belt on anyway. It's way too early in the morning for me to run air tools, so we're going to do all this one by hand today. I'd be pretty popular with my neighbors if I start running the compressor at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. Okay, we've got that out of the way. Let's go underneath. Okay, we're underneath here, and you can see our loose belt just hanging here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work it around the edge of the blade and take it off. On some decks you'll have to move the blade around a little bit to find the spot where it comes off easily. But now the old belt's off, so let's throw the new one on. And the new belt actually feels just a tiny bit smaller than the old belt does, even though they have the same part number, so I'm pretty sure we hit the problem with the squeaking belt right there. Okay, you can see here. I guess you can't see here. Here we're pushing the belt through the little slot here. Let's change sides. So now we're just feeding the belt through. We've got it over the blade, and we're going to fill up the slot. Now we're going to have one hand here holding the belt on the pulley, and we're going to go to the top and finish this off. We're using our right hand to hold the belt on the pulley underneath, and we're going to use our left hand to thread it all in. If you get it threaded up here and get it on all the wheels, and it's not on the pulley,
then, well, there you go. We'll do this pulley. I'll reach underneath and do the other one. At least I think I will. There we go. Now we're on the other pulley underneath. Now we'll hop off the other pulley when you're putting the rest of it back together. So put a little tension on it here. And now we've got the belt in the groove here. I'm going to slide this out, put that back on, and she should be sitting loose. And the difference between tight and loose is pretty small in one of these. Make sure our adjustments are right, and put her bolt back on. Now before we tighten that down, I'm going to look underneath and make sure we're still on. Yep, and we're on our pulley correctly. So it looks good. Now I'm still holding her up on her side, only because I'm going to have to put the cover back on underneath before we're done. Remember, oiling these pulleys is fine, but you don't want to get any oil on the belt, because your belt will most assuredly have a bad day. It'll be squeaking and slipping and just not working. Now what I'm doing here is I'm reaching underneath here and making sure this little wheel's still turning freely, even though this belt's tightened. And it does appear to be. Everything looks pretty good. Okay, let's go underneath and put the cover back together. Okay, let's get this bottom cover back on. So I'm going to slide it in the little grooves first. This goes on pretty easy. Slide it in the grooves, get it in space. And this has little tab things here that you want to make sure click in. Okay, let's get the nut on her. Okay, we got the bottom cover on. Now let's go up to the top and put the top cover back on. She's ready to go. Now you can see from this angle, the bottom cover we just put in grooves in up here to keep the dirt from flying up into the assorted monkey works up here. So now all we need to do is slide our top cover back into place. Okay, it's now 7:15 and we're done playing with this. So we spent about 20 minutes total playing with it, and 5 of those minutes was spent looking around for the correct wrench and finding the nut for the bolt and all that whatnot. So it really is a 10 or 15 minute job. It doesn't hurt if you're doing this to go ahead and clean everything up before you start. If you're doing yours, if you have a pressure washer underneath. If you don't have a pressure washer, at least go ahead and hose underneath and get all the grass and whatnot out of the way, because working on a dirty engine just isn't worth it. It's just not. You'll find that you lose nuts and bolts among the clumps of dirt that you'll pull out from under the mower, where cleaning it up first and then taking it apart, you got something nice and neat, and you also end up like this. Probably wouldn't hurt to wash my hands, but we're not super dirty either. Okay, well, that's my Monday morning. Time to get this in the truck and get it down the street. So I hope y'all have a good day, and don't forget to subscribe.